Alright guys, so we're back at it again.
Back at it again,
We're
boys.
we're getting closer and closer. So Heracles mad, right?
Yep.
Phoenician Maidens.
Phoenician Maidens.
And Orestes.
Orestes.
Yep.
So as we're delving deeper and deeper, we're getting more. We're obviously very familiar with Euripides' style now, right? Now about Heracles mad, I wanna tell me your guys' thoughts. I personally thought it was like weird mixed with like a good moral message at the end for Heracles. Yeah.
Okay. I thought like it was very interesting because like I already knew like while going into this play Megara is gonna die because like that's part of like the Greek mythological canon. So I'm like, oh fuck, this is gonna be a story about Heracles killing his wife and sons. So then like at the beginning when like the Megara and the children are like obviously sentenced to death. Like Heracles arrives, I'm like, oh wow, maybe they're not going to die.
Yeah.
I was really hoping they were going to die, but like I knew chances are they were going to die, and lo and behold, due to Hera sending to Hera making him crazy, he kills them and he's just depressed at the end.
It reminded me so much of Kratos. Of Kratos, right? Because of Ares. Ares made him mad and kill his family, right? So that's what it reminded me of a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. As someone who didn't know what was going on, it felt like at the beginning it felt like one story where it's Heracles coming in to try and protect his wife and kids, and then all of a sudden the story just completely shifts and murders the wife and kids. It honestly caught me off guard. I was like, I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, like when you were like the first half, it does feel like it's just Heracles solving the situation, and then he becomes the situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, I guess, the friendship that when Theseus talks to Heracles, he brings up like friendship a lot, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Dylan.
Based on friendship.
Okay.
Well, like the one thing I can see from that is
because Theseus offers him a place in Athens and offers him his wealth as well. Does he not?
I believe so.
he offered him half his wealth.
Yeah, half his wealth, which is weird because he would offer that to somebody who killed his family. But I guess it was like empathy.
Yeah.
It's also the case that like prior to this, Heracles saved Theseus from hell.
Yes. It was like a favor. Yep. I think Heracles even questions the gods a little bit, does he not?
He does, but he does question. I feel like he does question like whether they're just or not, or whether like they're just, because he does mention the fact that like how could you let this happen? How could you let such a horrible thing happen to like the gods and like particular?
He even questions their existence, does he not? Oh my gosh.
I feel like it would be hard to question the existence when you have two little gods.
Yeah. And isn't he the son of a god?
He's also the son of
Wait, hold on.
That would be very...
It was definitely with his model. It was definitely with his dialogue with Theseus. This her's work. My son. You guys can. Sorry, I'm gonna try to find a quote. You guys can talk if you.
So I'm trying to think. So you brought up the friendship. I do see what you're saying with Theseus, how he tried to offer what he could. He's trying to be a good friend. So in this situation, Heracles, he kills his wife and kids. He's devastated. So Theseus did what a normal person would do, would try to empathize, try to console them. Oh, it's not your fault. Say, I'll try and help you. So I thought that was pretty nice. Would that be I guess was that a trait that was renowned back then in ancient Greece?
Friendship, I'm not exactly sure, but like it's also like, well, I'm not sure friendship is something they renown. The one thing they probably like that is consistent within all the stories is like giving people what they're owed, or like in this case, like Heracles saved Theseus from literal hell,
True.
and then like in his time of need, he's like, you know what, I'll repay him for what he did for me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so it's more, like, you helped me, now it's my turn to return the favor. In that sense.
You found the passage?
Yes. So
Okay.
this is actually on page 376.
376.
Yeah. So second to last page. It's on Hercules' big paragraph. Hercules' big paragraph. So when it starts with "Hear me a moment."
Okay.
You see it?
Yeah.
Hear me a moment, that I may enter the list with arguments in answer to your admonitions, and I will unfold to you your life. And I will infer to you why life now, as well as formerly, has been unbearable to me. First, I am the son of a man who incurred the guilt of blood before he married my mother Alcmena by slaying her aged sire. Talking about how Zeus slayed her father. Now, when the foundation is badly laid at birth, needs must the race be cursed with woe. And Zeus, whoever this Zeus may be, okay? So he's like saying, if this Zeus even exists, or whoever he is, pretty much saying like he also does, even if Zeus existed, he doesn't really know if he's there or not, or has a communication with him. Whoever this Zeus may be, begot me as a bud for Hera's hate. Yet be not you vexed thereat, old man, for you rather than Zeus do I regard as my father. So he's talking to Theseus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, which? Goddamn, I got lost.
Sorry. Alcmena, do you see the word Alcmena, Paul? The name Alcmena?
Yes.
By slaying her aged sire, right? So talking about how Zeus, his quote-unquote dad's slayed her, and how, bad foundation at birth, like that marriage relationship or whatever. Now, when the foundation is badly laid at birth, needs must the race be cursed with woe. So I guess needs must my line be cursed be cursed because of this.
Yeah.
And Zeus, whoever this Zeus may be, begot me as a butt for Hera's hate. So he thinks that he was conceived just to spite Hera, if I interpreted this correctly. Yet be not you vexed thereat, old man, for you rather than Zeus do I regard as my father. Then, while I was yet being suckled, that bride of Zeus did foist into my cradle fearsome snakes, right, to compass my death. After I was grown to a man's estate, after I grew up, of all the toils I then endured, what need to tell? Of all the lions, typhons, and giants that I slew, or of the cattle I won against the hosts of four-legged centaurs, or how when I had killed the Hydra, that monster with the ring of heads with power to grow again, I passed through countless other toils besides, and came onto the dead to fetch to the light at the bidding of Orestes for three-headed hound, right? The hound that guards Hades.
Yeah. Cerberus.
Yeah.
Cerberus. Yeah.
Last, woe is me. Have I perpetrated this bloody deed to crown the sorrows of my house with my children's murder? So it's pretty much saying, I fucking did all this shit, and these bad things still happen.
Yeah.
And like he's pissed because Zeus didn't do anything, and he's like questioning even their existence. Like Zeus, whoever this guy may be, I don't even if he exists, like I don't really know him because So I thought that was very compelling. Like I did get like a little bit towards the end, Heracles almost doesn't believe the gods are real, or at least he believes that they're not like good. Whereas Theseus, I think, was trying to convince him otherwise, that this, it's like a depressed person, and he's trying to like cheer them up.
Yeah.
But he's making some good points.
Yeah. That was an interesting point that you during your reading when he mentioned how if the foundation the bloodline, if it's badly constructed in the beginning,
Yeah.
then the whole bloodline is cursed. And that's a bit of foreshadowing
Yeah.
for the third book that we're about to read, Orestes. And that's interesting. And a lot of these stories come up like this. I believe also Orestes was the other one?
Oedipus.
Oedipus, yes.
Right, because I forgot, what was his father's or mother's crime again? Because they had some completely unknown.
Wasn't it Labdakis for like raping a kid or something?
Yes.
Or like a guy.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like the Greeks believed that they obviously over exaggerate the point that if a father commits sins, it'll like magically
Transfer to the
son.
The son,
But I
yeah.
think what the Greeks are also trying to say is that in real life, right? Whoever your parents are, it does have an effect on your life.
Yeah.
If they're poor or they're criminals, that's definitely gonna like reverberate.
Yep.
So I think that's also what they're trying to put on
Like
in a
we
play.
can also see like this, all the sons of Zeus like pretty much have superpowers in most cases, or they're very smart. Like the like basically the child of any god like either have superpowers or they just become a god as well. So like you could say like you could like in essence say, hey, like maybe that's like how the Greeks kind of viewed class back then, or to an extent it's probably kind of applicable now.
And how the children also suffer the sins of the father with Hector's son, where he was executed even though he didn't do anything because he's the son of Hector, and they didn't want him to conspire and then come back and get his revenge for the sacking of
And
Troy.
like reignite the Troy, like the city, the state.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Any other things that you felt like popped up in Heracles?
The one thing I'm pretty sure Euripides played with the canon as well as a bit, because the reason Hercules did his labors was because he killed his wife and son.
Okay.
But he killed his wife and son after the labors.
After labors.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You're right.
So like,
Was this like was it a different family? Maybe.
I don't know. Would the Greeks really say, "Hey, what if this guy killed his wife and son again?"
Because I think in one of Hercules' I think in another play concerning Hercules, it was his wife was jealous of this woman that Hercules had brought from one of his conquests.
Yes,
Yeah,
that
and
is canonically how he dies. But before that, he had a family before that.
So that was another family he was with when he dies?
Yeah, when he
The wife
actually
is
dies.
jealous, yeah.
That's like his second family.
Okay, that's a second family. Alright, interesting.
And like the reason he went through all the 12 labors was so he could be forgiven divinely.
Okay.
So he could because you know how like they have like a lot of the like when we read the Orestes, at the end he kind of had to go through this like trial or ritual or something to like wash the sins off of him,
Yeah.
even though sins is different for them, I guess. And like in this case, from 12 Labors of Hercules, that was like his version of that. So
Okay.
I do find it like an interesting writing choice that he would switch the order.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you mean.
Mhm.
Unless it was somehow like a different family.
He would have 3 families.
Let's look it up.
Because like
Let's look it up.
because it was very explicit how his first family was killed because he was driven mad by Hera. And that's what happened in this story. So I'm kind of confused why Heracles would do the labors when his reason for doing the labors was killing his family. Like, did he do it in advance? Like, did he think there was a possibility he might kill his family?
Maybe it was like a monthly occurrence that every month after he does it, Hera takes over, possesses his body, kills all his family.
Is it like a coupon for like you could kill one family, but that's it?
Hold on just a second, guys. Oh my god. Heracles marries the Theban princess Megara.
Yeah.
Hera afflicted the hero with madness and he murdered his wife and all their children. And this is what the Greek god Apollo instructed Heracles to atone for his crime by performing the labors.
Yeah.
Shit, so you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good catch.
So like, So like even though like I knew, I was like also very confused on like why it was switched up, because like why would Heracles do the 12 labors if he didn't kill his family yet? So I was confused as well. But like I gave it a pass because Euripides did that with Helen. So
True. So we know already that Euripides, he always likes playing with canon, as you said. So I guess what is the reasoning for it? Is it to enhance the story, or is it to retell the story in just a different fashion? Yeah,
maybe.
I think in this case it might have to be where like rather than like having divine intervention solve the problem for you, in this case Heracles had to solve it himself, not through divine means or like how like, hey, do these things and you're forgiven. It's like he has to forgive himself for what happened, and Theseus is there to like actually give him the support, because like even though it was done with Heracles' hands, he didn't do it by his own account.
That's what I think is a huge theme with that story, because even though he's driven to do this thing, Heracles actually like takes responsibility for it. He takes responsibility for the fact that he killed his family, even though technically it was Hera that made him do it. And to an extent, like throughout the story, you're getting the sense that like Heracles, he's showing like higher ethical standards than the gods themselves.
true.
That's at least what I'm getting.
Instead of blaming the gods, he decides to blame himself. That's an interesting.
So maybe Euripides is trying to say that even if you were not responsible for the acts, you still have like the responsibility to try to move on or rectify it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because of like how Heracles is just he's blaming himself even though it's technically not his fault.
I think the story might be telling something about guilt, and like in this case survivor's guilt or something, because like because like you could like say like you could extrapolate that to like a natural person, you know, like they could like live normally, but due to like an occurrence that's completely out of the control, people die, people get hurt, and like they feel personally responsible, like they maybe could have done something. Yeah. Well, in this case, Heracles couldn't have done something. He was literally first of all, he was under the control of gods. Like nothing he could have done would have changed what happened. Like the gods like just said, yeah, Hera is making us do this, and it's gonna happen that way. And like we've seen with pretty much every other story, that if the gods want something, it happens.
Yeah.
Unless it's against Zeus. In this case, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But like yeah, in general, if the gods want something to happen, it's going to happen. So in this case, now that Heracles like has his family is gone, he's just like left all alone. He has nothing left. Like he said, his family is ruined. He has like no money, no nothing, no family. And then you have Theseus like coming out like in his time of need, saying, "Hey, you're going through a really rough time. Like I can help you out. Like you could come over. You can like I'll give you the means to live with yourself for now, and then like at some point like maybe you could like find the will to do it on your own. And, like we can like in this case you could actually like see like two sides of this of like when someone is in pain, like the person who's in pain, and the person who helps the person in pain, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. It also comes down to the idea that you should always help your fellow man.
Yeah.
Where like even if it's like a homeless person on the street, or it's someone who someone who lost a close one, you always need to either console them, give them a helping hand. Always try to help them in their time of need, because at some point it'll come back to benefit you. It's like, what's the saying? I'm mixing up my sayings, but it's like good things come to those who help others, or something like that. Rough translation.
Okay. I've covered everything I've had to cover. Is it okay if we move to Phoenician Maidens, guys?
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, before we finish with that, what do you guys think of the play in general? Besides Like, did you like it? Did you hate it?
I especially liked, what I really liked was the ending, or like towards the ending, after Hercules does the deed, and just his contemplation of what he just did and his reaction, I think was fascinating. That he took blame, questioned the gods even a bit, and their existence because if they existed, allowing something to happen, like guilt, like PTSD, kind of like little kids in like abusive households. Like they don't want to come to the realization that their parents are maybe like really nefarious, so they'd rather just blame themselves
for the problem,
kind of thing. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I do like how it is interesting how you said blamed himself for his trauma, for killing the family, when obviously it was Hera. God bless you. And yeah, questioning the gods. How often did we see that in the most recent plays? Like
the recent play, we don't see that often.
It's not too often, but I think with Euripides, it's a little more common than the last two we read, with Sophocles and Aeschylus, right?
Well,
we got the big Prometheus bound.
Yep, that was
big Prometheus bound.
So there's speculation that one was written by his son and not Aeschylus.
That might happen. That
might be the case.
Yeah.
True. Nonetheless, that was one big play, mind you, but we didn't see it that much. But with Euripides, we're seeing it a little bit more.
Yeah, we're getting again Euripides is trying to really picture the human condition. The man's biographical note says he hates women, and yet he still puts in the effort to write good women.
He writes the best women out of all the authors.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. That is interesting. We always come up with that, but it's so fascinating. I wonder why. It's weird.
It was Phoenician Maidens.
Yes. So,
I love this play. I actually really like this play.
So Thebes is in the midst of the war,
yeah.
and the fucking maidens are they're just like refugees, right? And they're caught in the mix.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
here's the thing. This is basically just Euripides' interpretation of Seven Against
Thebes.
Yes.
Now there's no reason to read it if you have this.
Polynices and Eteocles, Eteocles rules, right? Polynices was supposed to take him after a year, right?
Yeah.
Goes to Argos, marries the king's daughter, gets the army, and I felt Creon was portrayed in a more positive note in this one.
Yes.
Maybe you guys didn't get that sense.
I mean, because when we read Antigone, I believe it was Sophocles, I was always under the assumption that Creon was the one who didn't want to bury Patroclus. I thought it was his decision. Polynices. Sorry, I'm mixing up names. But we find out it was Eteocles. Am I right?
Eteocles.
It's okay. I'll get it right one of these days. But yeah, Eteocles, it was his decision. He told Creon, if I die, you take over. Do not let Patroclus? Polynices. Do not let Polynices get buried.
Patroclus is the Iliad.
The Iliad, yes.
He's the Iliad.
He's the Iliad. If you need help, just look at me, just stare at me, Paul, and we'll provide you the name.
Okay, I'll just yell name next time. But yeah, I found it interesting how it wasn't Creon's decision, which in my opinion, made him less evil, but he still had a little bit of...
He also lost a son, too.
Yep, that's true. It was much,
I just got the sense that he was portrayed in a more sympathetic light, or a more nuanced light. Hold on.
Yeah, I found it interesting. Yokasa was still alive. I was under the impression she died before he cut out. He blinded himself.
I'm gonna Euripides thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
When Euripides sees canon, it's a suggestion.
Yeah, he likes to play with the timeline a lot. I noticed that.
But honestly, I didn't really mind it this time, since I think it adds more drama that Jocasta's alive at this point in time.
But also the whole Tiresias telling Creon that he has to kill his son to ensure the survival of the city was so fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we could interpret from that. You could say if you want to survive a war or save something, people are going to die. And it might be people
You're gonna have to sacrifice.
those people might be very close to you, like your son, kind of close, you know. So you can see how Creon's son is just the cost of war.
Yeah, and Creon, I believe he was hesitant. He didn't want to kill his son, but it was his son who said, "Well, listen, if I run, I'm just a coward." And if I let my father kill me, he won't live with himself. So let me do it myself.
But also his son killing himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Creon doing the deed or anybody doing the deed, I think also absolves Creon of trying to make the difficult decision, which is weird.
Because Creon, except Creon wasn't trying to make that decision. He was actively trying to make his son get out and live. And then his son tricked him. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Like just make sure you distract those guards over there." And then I'll leave. Then he just killed himself in the gates, you know,
because he interpreted it as he needs to. He saw this as a noble deed to sacrifice himself, which, considering in our modern society, is a little weird. We're used to characters being, I don't know, selfish on screen.
Well, it depends, because when you see a movie or sometimes a book or even stories about heroism. And a person dies, they always portray the sacrifice, the self-sacrificing person, as heroic in that case.
Yeah.
It's maybe nowadays they're directors or writers are analyzing that a bit more. But I think prior to that, sacrifice was seen as a noble thing.
Heroic action.
And it's also you can see why it's not just this Jesus though. That's Jesus' whole thing.
Yeah. He died on the cross for our sins.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
So
that's true.
And I think another powerful theme, in my opinion, is just the hunger for power just ends to complete and utter destruction.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they both die at the same time. The mother kills herself, right? And think about the amount of people that died because of a brotherly feud as well. They might have just been able to solve this if Heracles and Polynices just fought themselves.
I mean, look at the Battle of Troy. It was all fought after one woman. So in this one, you start to see a lot of these fights start off
personal beefs.
Well,
just personal wants for power, and extremely personal in the sense that it's family members. So giving the air that this also could have been solved as well.
I felt a very good right decision is that at the very start of the movie, there's a ceasefire. They're hey, before we fight, let's see if we can work it out first.
Yeah.
And then the two brothers you actually see how Polynices actually genuinely loves his family.
Paul, what does that mirror? What story does that mirror? What show?
Game of Thrones.
House of the Dragon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Half siblings. A war's about to brew for the throne. Rhaenyra and Aegon, they're not fighting yet. They want to talk terms. They're delivering messages for houses to gain support, and then it just falls. The ceasefire falls out.
Yeah.
But anyways, you can tell Polynices when he talks with Antigone and Isomene, you still see he loves them, and with Jocasta as well. Even though
she wants to break them up. To the feud.
You see how Jocasta's doing everything she can in order to prevent them from killing each other, but Polynices he is very also Polynices, but Eteocles he broke his promise.
Yeah.
He's kind of portrayed as an ass, you know, because he made an agreement. He's hey, once Polynices comes back, it's his turn to rule. And then he gets greedy for it and just banishes him. And Polynices, you see how Polynices' father-in-law said there was a prophecy with him and another guy where he'll wed his two daughters to him to them, and then he will force them to fight to take over their city, because you do see Polynices he's I didn't really want this. So let's just
my brother's just driving me to this point because he's refusing to acknowledge the deal that was agreed upon.
And then by that and literally by by the point the ceasefire is about to end, they're like, literally the only way we can solve this is by killing each other. Like they cannot live under the same earth if the other's alive. So like, and like everything devolves to that point.
Yep, and that's also because of the curse, right?
Yeah.
Caused by the father, and then the two sons have to fulfill the prophecy. I feel like that's one of the big reasons why it was never going to work, the ceasefire. Because they knew the prophecy had to be fulfilled, that one of them, I believe it was one of them, had to die. But then obviously it ended up both of them dying, which ended the...
But like, I did find the ending like genuinely interesting, because like once Polynices, like, he was pretty much dead, but he killed Eteocles. His like last words were like, even though I hate my brother, I still love him. And then like he dies that way. So like, you can still see like, even though he went through all that with his brother, he still loves him at the end. Yeah. So like you can like say like that's like a familial theme, you know, where like brother and sister, brother and brother, siblings, or like family members can fight and they can like absolutely hate each other. But in the end, there's still like an undercurrent of love under that.
Yeah, I agree. And just, again, the fact that they're family members also drives to the point the absurdity of power. Because they are family members, why are you fighting for something so trivial as the throne, right? When you two could just get along. Especially Eteocles, right? His greed also prevents him from... His greed leads him to like fighting his own brother, so that fucking destroys a lot of the relationship right there. Destroys the city, countless people die. Just the fucking absurdity of humans that we're willing to go through all these lengths for something that's not really that important.
That's true.
And then Oedipus shows up and Antigone, right, tells him what happens, right? And Creon's like, get the fuck out of here. You caused a lot of damage, right?
And like Creon actually does make like a point where he's like, you know what? I don't like really hate you. However, like this is like all your fault, you know. And like he also has like an actual prophet who tells him that. So he's like, you can't really argue with that with the guy who's always right tells you it's the guy's fault. So I still find it interesting how at the very end of the story, like you have Oedipus saying goodbye to his mother wife and his two sons, but like he's blind. So like he touches his mother wife and then like his two sons, and like after all that he still like loves all of them, even though it's like a very painful situation.
Yeah.
And when they leave, he leaves with Antigone, but he wants to leave alone. And Antigone still leaves with him. He's like, hey, if I don't go with you, you're just gonna die in a ditch or something like that.
Yeah.
So like you still see how like there's like a strong family theme within the story, where like even though like family like can tear each other apart, they still can bring each other together. At the end.
Yeah. And yeah, it leads into the play of Antigone, right? Because then Creon decides that we're going to bury Eteocles and not Polynices, and Antigone disagrees with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's like this is like an interesting way of like playing with the story. So I do think this is out of the 3 plays we've read, I think this is like the best one. Okay.
Wow.
Well, like the 3 plays we read this week.
This week, I do agree with that. I do agree.
If it was of Euripides, it would either be this one or Medea.
Medea was very good.
I
will say, yeah, that probably is my favorite of all of them.
I have to agree with you. I'm tied between Heracles Mad and Phoenician Maidens, but you've come and say I think I'll go Phoenician Maidens.
So you're like Phoenician Maidens, like has like such a strong emotional connection towards all the characters, because like you know everything that happened before, because we read Oedipus the King, and we kind of know what's happening after, and then it kind of makes Seven Against Thebes by default better and worse. But like, I do find there's one fucking hilarious line in the Phoenician Maidens where it's like, oh hey, who's gonna guard these 7 gates? I don't know, pick some random guys. We're not gonna spend like half an hour naming a bunch of guys. And like,
dissing the Iliad.
not the Iliad, he was dissing 7 Against Thebes.
Thebes, yeah.
That was the whole play.
Oh,
where they're just naming people the whole time.
That's true.
And I read that and I just laughed my ass off. I'm like, what? Throwing fucking shade
Yeah.
at Aeschylus.
So Euripides throws Easter eggs every once in a while.
It was like the biggest middle finger. I found it so hilarious. But like, it's like, I just find like the emotional through line of Phoenician Maidens like so captivating and so fun and like so like thought provoking. Like, it's like literally like, it's to the point where I would suggest it to a person who has never read a Greek play.
A Greek play. So that's interesting. I don't know if I would, because, as you said, we enjoy it so much because we already know the story. If someone were to pick it up and read the story, I don't know how much they would enjoy it.
But like, here's the thing: you have to read this.
I think you just have to read in the order that the book.
The book. If you read it in the order, I definitely agree.
If you read it like the Oedipus trilogy, you can ignore the seven against
Thebes.
You can ignore that one.
We'll pretend that didn't happen.
And the Phoenician Maidens, like, it's like, I think it will, like, people, like, regular people could enjoy. Like, honestly, they might have a hard time, but like, it's like genuinely really good.
I do agree with you. If they read the Oedipus trilogy, then they will enjoy this. That is true.
Okay. So are we ready to move on to Orestes?
Final one? Orestes, yes.
Now, tell me guys' thoughts.
What an ending.
Yeah?
What an ending.
It was a...
Oh my god.
I did not expect that.
What's it called? Deus Ex Machina. The shit out of it, yeah.
It was, but like, the whole play... Okay, by the way, I have a question. Am I the only one who thought Pylades was gay?
No. I didn't think it was...
I thought... Look, I read it and I'm like, he's giving me Patroclus vibes, and he's giving... Therefore, that's giving me gay
I do
vibes.
see what you're saying. I do agree. Like, he's very close.
If a male is like close to another male, Paul immediately is like...
Who dies for another guy?
Bro, fucking Creon's son died for a city.
Yeah.
But like, this is personal, okay? Not like towards like...
He like loves him in like a brotherly...
But like, people die for ideals. But like, it's hard for person to die for another person because it's only through emotional connections they would do that.
Yeah, they have like a deep brotherly bond.
But like, I thought it was...
That's at least me. That's at least me.
I thought it was really gay. And then like, as soon as I finished the play, I'm like, I had to Google it. Are they gay? And then, in some stories, they're portrayed as gay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I see what you're saying, because a lot of times when we see someone sacrifice, like, want to die for another person, it's always a wife or a husband dying for their partner.
Ah.
What was one of the stories with
Orestes?
Yeah,
Orestes? There was the young woman who died, who jumped into the pyre for her husband, who ended up dying in the... I'm trying to remember. It was one of the stories you read earlier in the...
It was Hecuba?
Yeah.
Was the one before? The Trojan woman.
Yes. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, but didn't they die? Didn't she die because they commanded it? Like Odysseus, right? I think recommended it for Achilles, right?
No.
Well,
That's think about Polysena, but like in the Trojan woman, it was Hecuba who jumped into the fire.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So like people when people do self-sacrificing things, it's usually not platonic.
Yeah, it's usually for your significant other.
I mean, listen, if some versions of the overall story were written by ancient Greeks, right? Written at that time around,
Yep.
and had them gay. I mean, it stands to show that you have like a plot, you have evidence. So,
like it's like, because here's the thing, it would be very hard if it was any other play, because Pylades is usually mute or like says one line and does jack shit the rest of the time. But he's speaking a lot here, and I'm like, wow, he sounds really gay.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence towards it, but I wonder if that's what Euripides was intending.
I didn't pick up on it. I didn't pick up on it.
No, like seriously, I'm like, I read this and I'm like, whoa, this is like how someone would talk to their boyfriend or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you might have something.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's a very good point.
So anyway,
Anyway,
besides that,
Helen, am I right?
Bro.
What? She didn't do anything.
Do it,
She got fucking ruined,
She
bro.
did nothing. It was
I'm here for my sister.
Yeah.
And then
I hope nothing
dies,
bad happens.
fucking like gets
like,
murdered.
oh my.
Oh my
Gets
God.
OJ Simpson. Bro.
Orestes strikes again. He kills both the sisters. That is
Yo, OJ Simpson's the shit out of
But like
that.
straight up,
God,
Helen
that's
didn't do
wild.
anything. She, her, like, why?
No, Paul, she was gonna squeal, bro. She's gonna snitch.
And that's true. And in this canon, this is Euripides' canon. She was. It was Hera who's disguised as Helen, right?
To be fair,
So this Helen technically didn't do anything.
but here's the thing. Euripides plays with his own canon as well. Because
Yeah.
there are two stories where Hecuba dies, okay? And they're not the same one.
That's true.
She's supposedly dies in the aftermath of Hecuba,
Hecuba,
but she
yeah.
died in Trojan Woman.
You know.
Also, Pilates.
Interesting.
Yeah, Pilates. Yup. Hold on. I'm just recapping.
Pilates.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. So they form a revenge plan on Menelaus, right? Helen dies. Yes. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
Yeah. Let me see
Yeah.
what I can think of. So I found it interesting. So the general consensus was that no one was happy with what Orestes did, killing the mother. Despite the fact that they didn't like what the Clytemnestra did by killing her husband, Agamemnon. What did you think of that? I found it so strange.
Like, I think like the problem is like, even though like they all agreed Clytemnestra did something really bad, she should have been like taken care of by the law, not because like when I thought I'm like, is this like anti-vigilantism or something like that, or like going outside of the law?
Yeah.
Because like in the end, that is what Orestes
Orestes
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird though that they didn't hatch a plan against Menelaus.
Yeah. They didn't do anything. They
No,
should've-
Menelaus didn't exactly like say,
Like,
I'm not
say-
gonna support you.
Like he just
Yeah.
said, he kind of just like the one thing they were mad about him is like, you're not helping us, you know.
Yeah.
And then they're like, out of all the things our dad did for you, you're not doing this for us. Are you fucking serious? You know. And then like they were like very mad at that.
Entitled, you would say? Would you say, Paul? Or do you think they had a good reason to bring that up? Do you think they had a good reason for Menelaus to... You think Menelaus should have helped or no?
It's hard because that's also his sister-in-law they killed.
Yeah. And his wife.
Okay.
I guess, but I guess that's afterwards, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, still.
But like, I get. Why did they have to kill Helen, dude? She did nothing.
She was gonna
She
snitch.
was-
She was gonna snitch. She was gonna snitch.
Snitch? What was she snitch about? She wasn't
She
there.
was gonna snitch. Yeah.
They're like,
They have to get back at they have to get back at Menelaus, bro. They gotta go through her, you know. It's just it's so weird. And then they hold Hermione hostage.
Hostage, yeah.
And then fucking Apollo,
Shows up. It's like,
fuck off, guys. Sorry for my English. You know, calm down. I'm gonna set everything right.
oh, by the way, Helen's not dead, but she's going to super heaven.
Oh,
Super
yes.
Heaven, yes.
Her brothers,
Yep.
right? Didn't the brothers say you're gonna be like us now?
Us, yep.
Yeah.
One of the funniest parts is like, you see Hermione, that girl you're keeping hostage? Yeah, you're gonna marry her one day.
That's Pilates, right?
And at the very end,
I thought it was Apollo, no?
no,
No, but Apollo's telling Pilates that he was gonna.
Apollo's telling Paul he's gonna marry Electra,
Okay,
and
yeah.
and Orestes is gonna marry Hermione.
Oh yeah, he was also
Yeah.
discussing what they should do to repent.
Mhm.
Correct?
So which leads to the ending of the Orestes.
Yeah, it leads
Yeah.
to the last play. Well, like the trial and all that.
Yeah.
Again, oh my
And
god. Bro.
Again, like, I don't like the Deus Ex Machina because I literally saw. First of all, why wasn't Menelaus still mad at the end? Why? They literally tried to kill his wife
Yeah,
and
sure.
daughter, and even though
he's gonna.
What was the last line he said? It was like, hurrah. It's like,
Yes,
all
yes,
hail the thing. I'm like,
let me,
what the hell is that flip? You just killed your
Let me
wife.
find it. Let me find it,
Like,
bro.
if it was-
It was such a funny line.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Praise the Lord. That was it. Praise the Lord. Oh my
because like
God.
if it was Agamemnon, I would understand him making that decision. This is Menelaus, the man who literally started a war because his wife was.
All
killed.
hail,
Yep.
all hail, Helen, daughter of Zeus. I wish the joy of your home in heaven's happy courts. To you, Orestes, I betrothed my daughter according to the word of Phoebus.
Yeah.
And good luck to you, a noble wooer, nobly wived, and be the parent of your bride. And he's saying like a good thing.
Yeah.
Well-
After she was murdered.
Cold blood. So, like,
After Helen was murdered, his daughter is fucking taken as a hostage.
Hostage, yeah.
Like, again, somehow Helen still came out on top. She did nothing.
She literally
She
came on
didn't
top.
just go to heaven. She went to super heaven, okay?
Yes.
Because Greeks' closest thing they have to heaven is Elysium. But she went to, like, super heaven.
Super Elysium.
Super Elysium, you know? She went to Olympus, like, what?
So Elysium with Matt Damon, right? Super Elysium. You see like Transformers, fucking legendary actors, like It was fun. The Deus Ex Machina. I gotta admit, when I saw it, I'm like, the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
This is how you resolve a story.
Yeah.
Well, like, he's, like,
I get put in the great books of the Western world. Like,
Yep.
well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Every other Deus Ex Machina, I can understand. With this one, Menelaus would still not care about the god. He would still try to kill
they
him.
literally could have killed Hermione, and like if Apollo said, "Oh, Hermione's going to super heaven with Helen," he would have still been like, "Hurrah! They're
Yeah.
going to super heaven! I love you! I love you, Orestes!
Yeah,
Good luck!
and that's the
I
thing.
hope you repent your sins, my nephew."
The thing is, like, Apollo appearing and saying this stuff is not surprising. It's the reaction from the Menelaus specifically.
Like,
and
any
they also held her on hostage on the rooftop too,
Yeah.
right?
here's the thing. Any other Greek hero, I would have believed if they said, "You know what, I get it." But I do not believe Menelaus would have that reaction.
Menelaus is like fucking holding grudges, like all the way to all the way to like prehistory.
Yeah.
Like he holds that.
Like, this man almost killed the guy because he beat him in a chariot race.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
are you saying the man who literally tried to kill his wife and took his daughter hostage wouldn't be slightly mad?
They literally had to amend the rules, right? In that case, because of Menelaus, right? Because they were afraid of like Menelaus would have done to like the winner. Who was the winner, by the way? I forgot.
It was what's
What's his face?
it's the old man's. It's like the old man's son, but I forgot his name.
Ah, shit! I know. Oh, Agamemnon's advisor, huh?
I forgot his name. It's like
It's with an H, I think. Neon.
no,
Ne-
no, it was
Nero.
not. No, that.
Nephro. Nori. Nahu.
No.
Nadi. I don't know.
Whatever.
No,
Well,
but-
when that guy's son just beat him in a chariot race, he almost decided to just kill the guy because he beat him. And the only reason the guy survived was because he was bowing down to his gloriness, okay?
Yeah, like really sucking up to him. Yeah.
This man is the most petty person. This man will start a war because his wife got kidnapped. Then like, hey, maybe we could like do diplomacy first. Start a 10-year
War.
10-year war.
Agamemnon, my boy, my bro, get the forces. Get the forces. Let's go. You know, I got my wife back. You can destroy a rival.
And even then, once he got his wife back, he was still mad at her. Like, he was, like, I swear, I'm just thinking by that point, he didn't like it because, he didn't do the war because he liked her. He did it because someone stole for the respect, okay?
Someone stole his girl.
Like, again, he did, I don't even think he liked her.
It's like Tony Soprano. It's like in the Sopranos, these monsters, they're constantly obsessed with like their respect and losing respect and losing face. Yeah, I know.
So, like, I do not believe for a second, even if Zeus himself came down from Olympus and told him that, he would still not stop. I would still think, he'd be like, you know what? I don't care if I'm dying, I'm killing those two guys. Like,
But, you know, lo and behold, because Euripides says so,
Well,
it's chill.
Well, yeah, because Apollo says so. All of a sudden, hallelujah, we're all good.
I don't.
I can literally supplant us. I can literally supplant my son into the next heir of a kingdom, and I'm gonna solve this gigantic beef.
Like,
you
here's the
know?
thing, I really like this story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh my god, this is like so good. It's like a mixture of the middle and the end of the Orestes style, but like it's like a new interpretation.
Yeah.
Then the ending happened.
It's like a sister story. There's these tiny little sister stories in between events. It's kind of like, what are they doing now? It's kind of like Star Wars. like they're always fitting a movie in between the major movies.
Yeah. For a bit of
So
context.
Rogue One was fitted like between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
New Hope.
Mandalorian's being fitted between Return of the Jedi, right, and Force Awakens. It's like that. Like there's always like little sister stories that they want to that we read afterwards.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like a little bit, like these little like spin-off stories that still canon. Yeah.
But like there was one thing I did kind of get confused about, because remember when we read the Odyssey, Helen was also there.
Yeah.
But Menelaus also knew what Orestes did, and he was like totally fine with it. And so like I'm just saying, if you like had to time it wise, that means like the Odyssey was like literally
Between
like the Odyssey like was happening while this was happening
Yeah.
at the same time,
Mhm.
which I don't think was the case. Okay.
maybe
You're
that
pretty-
maybe the Odyssey was just Orestes' dream, halfway.
So like it's either that or like literally a few days after the Odyssey ended, this happened. Okay. Like that's my only explanation.
Yeah.
So like, or Euripides thinks he's playing with the canon again.
I mean, yeah.
He plays-
As we saw with the last
You know what
30
he
stories.
might be doing? He might be playing with the canon in order to try to develop like a different side of the characters.
Yeah, like a different
Like, it
perspective.
is like an interesting way of like thinking, like having these characters in different like situations as well. It's almost as like a what if situation or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
Or
it.
just like putting them in a different scenario to try to get like a different reaction out of them to say something about like us, like human nature.
Well, I do like it how like they're still like true to the characters as well in the what if situations, except the ending.
The ending, no.
Except the ending.
Yeah.
But like in everything except the ending, I'm like, wow, this is like a very interesting way of like seeing how these characters like think or react.
Yeah.
And like again, like before the ending, I love the climax. Like
Yeah.
where all like Pylades, Electra, and Orestes just accepting the fact they're going to die, and then once like Electra and Orestes are like, okay, we'll die together, and Pylades is like, if you're dying, I'm dying with you.
Go with you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Orestes is like, if only there's a way we could survive. It's like, oh wait, Electra's like, oh wait, we do have a way to survive. Kill Helen and take Hermione hostage.
Yeah.
True, and wasn't it Electra in the last story we read, which was Electra as well, who suggested to kill
Yeah.
the mother? So
Yeah.
Electra really,
Electra's the
we're starting to see
instigator.
more of a personality, or like
More of
more
an instigator.
initiative. Yep, instigator.
And like, I find it funny how like they said like Orestes is like, I'm the one who killed my mother. Pylades like, I am the sword, and Electra, I'm the one who inspired you or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I'm the one who told you to do it.
Yeah.
So like it's like you see how like all three of these people take responsibility
For their actions.
for their actions
Yeah.
in this case.
Mhm.
Like they're taking responsibility together, which is like very interesting. Even though because Pylades literally didn't speak in the previous Electra play.
Yep.
He was mute.
True. And in this play, Electra is not. Wasn't she marrying the old? Was it old servant or the old man?
The old in like the Electra play,
Yeah.
that is the case, but like they never consummated the marriage.
Okay.
And like the old and like the peasant, the
Yeah,
peasant like
no problem.
as far as I know, the peasant wasn't even like in the same house as her alone. So they maybe in this version they may have technically been married, but like I don't think anyone kind of recognized.
Recognize that. Okay.
All right, guys.
But again,
I
I'm
think-
still so fucking mad at the ending. Okay,
Yeah.
like again,
Deus Ex Machina, Deus Ex Machina.
it's just not. It is character assassination on Menelaus. Okay, he wouldn't do that.
And as I said earlier, it's not necessarily Apollo coming in with the Deus Ex Machina, but it's Menelaus completely shifting his personality for this Deus Ex Machina. I would have said without the ending, it would have been close second, maybe first of the next three. But the ending, it's weird. It's off-putting,
Yeah.
I guess, is the best way to say it.
Okay.
Again, if it was like a memo, I would get it.
Mhm.
If it was Odysseus, I would get it.
Get it.
Even Hercules, I could still kind of get it,
Mhm.
but not Menelaus.
Agreed.
Though I still liked it, even though the ending sucked.
I enjoyed the ending, but like you said, that Menelaus reaction
Yeah.
was like weird. But anyway, guys, I think it's a good point to end it.
Yeah.
Right? Or does anybody have anything else to add?
I think of the bundle of plays we've read, these three were like
The best for Euripides?
because like we always read like 2 or 3 per week, and like these three, like I feel like as a whole were like of a higher quality than the other 3, because like sometimes like we would read like certain plays and we're like, I can't really see the point of it, or like I don't get it.
Yeah.
And like with these 3, like you always saw like there's an underlying point to it.
Point
Like,
to it.
More obvious underlying themes.
and it was not just that, but like there was also like more personality in the characters. Like there's like a more of an emotional tissue towards it,
Yeah.
which is like not as often seen like in the previous playwrights. But like the only one I would say like that, the only play like player set of plays I would say like has the best set of emotional through line is like obviously the Oedipus trilogy, but like even then like outside of those 3 plays, like they weren't as emotionally connected as these plays we've read, because like there's always like an emotional through line of, like why these characters were doing and the emotions they feel, and like we see like the good and the bad of them. So I'm starting to see like an evolution of how the stories are being written, you know.
That's true. Now I'm wondering, did we like it so much because we've already seen the story before, right?
But
we've already
definitely-
seen part of the
But
Orestes.
definitely,
we saw part of that.
I think with Euripides as plays, you had to have already seen it
Seen it, or yeah,
in order to know what the
watched
hell's going on.
Mhm.
So I think it's I don't think we need to really pay as much attention to our feelings about the previous plays.
Because like it's also the case that like I'm pretty sure for most of the stories, like every person kind of knows the major plot beats usually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since like by this point they're just like writing about folk stories or folk tales.
Yeah.
So like it's like just like an author's interpretation. So like they'd be like, okay, like a general audience would probably know, okay, whatever, because there's literally like 3 versions of Electra, okay, and all the audience knew like the plot points, but like there's always like, okay, what's gonna be different in this interpretation?
Okay, I see that.
Because like Orestes is almost like a mixture of like the second play of the Orestes and the third play, because like it's almost like there's almost like a small trialish scene with Menelaus in there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, tell me why I should support you, basically.
Yeah.
And obviously like it does feel a bit like the end of the Orestes. I'm not gonna remember the names of the Orestes plays because
It's okay.
there's like what Trachenae, Humanities.
Yeah.
I don't even know
I
which.
forgot the last one. But anyway, I know what you mean, Paul. And Euripides is definitely trying to just get to a different version of these guys, which I'm really appreciating. Like you can tell he's really good at like he wants characters to be like gray or like have different attributes, and he always wants to see like the difference in it, right? So like when we read the Orestes with was it Aeschylus? Yeah, it was Aeschylus. Or style.
Yeah,
Making it Clytemnestra the evil person, and what do you know? He goes out of his way to write good dialogue for her to see the other side, and this is what he does a lot. He always wants to get the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
But like, I do think like I do like see how like we can like visually, you can like actually, if the more you think about it, like you can actually see like the evolution of storytelling with when you read these plays. Because like Aeschylus is like a lot more like
It's getting more and more intricate, and again, it's because they're building on each other, right?
because like when you read Aeschylus, is like Aeschylus, even the Iliad and the Odyssey is like very like plot point based usually. Well, I'm not gonna ignore like the fact there's like deep emotions there, but like there's always like the plot is center focused there. While with Euripides, we see like the emotions of the characters take much more center stage.
Yeah.
Like Heracles is about his despair. And
Afterwards, yeah.
like his despair, like the pain he feels, like even though like he's playing with like Euripides is playing with the canon, it's like playing it with an interesting way of like how does Hercules feel? Not like how he it's asking that question rather than how can Hercules not feel guilty about it, or like how can Hercules like wash the sins?
Watch the sins
guilt,
from it,
yeah,
or like trying to make sense of it so that he can know what to do and not feel this despair, right? Because we feel anxiety and despair when we don't know what to do. We have to make sense of it, and then that allows us to feel a lot calmer because now we know like the formula.
And like with Phoenician Maidens, like we see like throughout the whole play, there's like an emotional through line, and well, I still love the Oedipus trilogy. It's still one of my favorite stories ever.
Yeah.
Like there's still like I still think there's like a stronger emotional through line with Phoenician Maidens, because like even an Oedipus a colonist, even though it's very strongly emotionally based, there's still like a few plot points of Polynices like only doing it because he just wants to take the kingdom. That's why he's trying to take Oedipus. And like while in the Phoenician Maidens, it's like a story about two brothers who cannot like reconcile anymore. But like there's still like an emotional through line. Like they still love each other.
Yeah.
And again, and Orestes is like three people in an extremely hopeless situation, like working together, like basically they're bonded to such a point where they will do literally anything for each other, even if they have to do like horrible things to everyone else. And the ending ruined it, but
Plus, also we saw with what was his name, Orestes' friend, as you said, what was it? Pylades. He would also sacrifice himself if Orestes was to be killed as well. So we see their close bond. Their, I guess you could say, like a brotherly bond, right?
Whether it's a gay bond, because that might be a possibility, or a brotherly bond. It is a deep bond.
It is a deep bond.
So yeah. Anything else, guys? I think we've covered it.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to stop it.
Last three plays.
Oh,
you're right, please.
Yeah.
Iphigenia at Taurus, Iphigenia at Aurelis, and Cyclops, I think.
I believe Tori was the ancient word for Crimea in Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like 80% sure.
Okay.
So Iphigenia was who?
Agamemnon's eldest daughter, the one who got sacrificed.
So she supposedly got sacrificed, guys.
Yeah.
So why is there a play about her? Let's find.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
True, and it will clear up probably a big portion of the story. Basically, whether Agamemnon was right in it or not.
Palapal died.
I died?
Nice.
Oh. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Iphigenia among the Tauri. Iphigenia at Aulis and the Cyclops. And I'm pretty sure they said the Cyclops was Euripides' only surviving satire, I think.
Oh. And I'm assuming the Cyclops is the Cyclops from the Odyssey, perhaps.
I think so. Let's just see
The characters.
I wonder who's gonna be in Iphigenia.
Jesus, guys. So after this week, and then we're moving on to Aristophanes. We're finally gonna see satire and humor and comedy.
Okay, so for Iphigenia among the Tauri, Iphigenia, herdman, Orestes and his gay lover.
You made that up.
Pylades,
yeah.
Yeah, so I read a bit of it, like, bro.
Wait, it says gay lover? I didn't see this in the manuscript. Where is it?
Pylades, messenger, chorus of captive women from Hellas, and Athena, and for Iphigenia at
Aulis.
Okay.
We got Agamemnon, Clytemnestra, attendant, Iphigenia, chorus of women of Calchas, Achilles, Menelaus, and messenger. That's probably the one where she actually dies.
Most likely.
Shit, the messenger. I hope they're gonna really expand his story.
The messenger, yeah.
And the Cyclops, which is Silenus, Odysseus, chorus of satires, satyrs. Sorry,
So it's Poseidon's son.
Yeah.
the Cyclops, and mute companions of Odysseus.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right.